The following is an experience that happened to me around 2 summers ago, in 2017. Be me. I was around 15 years old at the time. I was living in Kansas. There is nothing to do here at all, even in the rich part of town that is not too far away from my house. So I am really, really bored. I'm too young to work, I'm too young to drive, so I have to bike everywhere. I suddenly get this idea. I call up my friend. We will call him Slim, since he essentially looks like a younger Eminem. I ask him if he wants to bike to what people at my school called the warehouse. I explain to him how it is an abandoned building. It's really, really big. People talk about it all the time. Apparently, it used to be a plastic factory before it caught on fire or something. He agrees to go on this 27-mile bike ride there and back. I call up my other friend. I ask if he wants to go too. He also says yes. He lives farther out, so he has his dad come and drop him off with his bike. Guy is an amazing competitive swimmer, so we will call him Swim Bro. They both show up at my house, and we begin our 12-mile bike ride to the spot. The bike ride is pretty difficult. The wind is blowing at us the whole time. There are way too many hills here for Kansas. My friends are ready to kill me because this is taking way too long. After about 40 minutes, we finally arrive at the middle school. We trek through the woods and the tall grass. We find a bike on the way there. It looked pretty beat up, but it definitely still worked. Slim's bike is way too small for him. Slim decides to hide it somewhere else so he can come and grab it later. We carry on through this thick forest. We finally find the thing. It's this giant opening in the side of the structure. We walk inside. It's just as massive as people talk about. There is stuff spray painted over the walls. Anything you can think of, it's on the walls. Everything. Swimbro is still standing outside. I ask Swimbro what's up with him. Swimbro says his mom would not let him go inside, that she said he could only look at it from the outside. I try to talk him into coming in, trying to sway him. Slim says no, we should respect his mom's decision. I agree and tell Swimbro to just stand watch for anyone else coming here, that he should shout and alert us if there is anyone. I turn around and get ready to walk deeper into this necropolis. I hear kids shouting and shoes slapping the concrete. It sounds like shit pinging off of the inside of the building. Slim tells me that they must be playing airsoft or something. I decide to scream really, really loud. I bellow out a pathetic yelp. The place gets silent enough that you could hear a pin drop. I suddenly hear a horn. It's a train. It's loud as shit. Sounds like it's barreling down the tracks. I faintly hear kids firing airsoft guns at the train on the second floor. I keep walking around the warehouse. Slim and I get bored of the first floor. We scale some lockers and broken stairs to get up to the second floor. We still do not see these kids, and it's been pretty quiet. We screw around on the second floor for a little bit, taking pictures with our phones. Suddenly, Slim's phone starts vibrating. Despite being on silent, his phone's vibration is super loud. We look at the name on the screen. It's Swimbro. Slim's look actually changes to one of shock. He starts speaking into the phone. I can't hear the full conversation because it's not on loudspeaker. I'm just catching words here and there like scream, kids, and leave. I am suddenly in panic mode. Slim looks at me with the most serious look I think I ever got from him. We need to leave now. We both take off frantically, looking for the best way down. We find a set of stairs that look like they are about to give in. It's our only shot. I go down the stairs as quick as my pathetic, out-of-shape 15-year-old body can carry me. I can feel the damn steps moving underneath my feet. Slim and I scramble to the exit where we left Swimbro, at the place that we came in. We are looking in desperation for him. I turn around. The airsoft kids are there. The kids are in hysterics. Some are crying and screaming, but all of them are running. They are scared. No, not scared. They are terrified. What happens next I will never forget for as long as I live. One of them grabs my arm. He had to be no older than 8 or 9 years old, much younger than the rest of the kids. His face was messy and dirty, with airsoft war paint and welts all over his arms and legs. He is glowing red with raw emotion and tears streaming down his innocent face. "Have you seen my bike? I can't find my bike. I need to get out of here." I feel like I'm about to tap out or some shit. I can only say one word. I just look at him straight in the eyes and say, "Just run." The kid sobers up and starts running for the tree line. Slim points out Swimbro, who is also in the tree line. Swimbro is frantically gesturing for us to come over. We bolt for the woods. We meet with Swimbro. After catching my breath, I finally break the silence. I'm like, "What the hell happened? Why did you tell us to run?" Swimbro does not even look at me. He just says, "The screams." "What? What are you talking about?" He turned to face me, his look softening a little bit as if he came back to reality. "I heard screaming. It wasn't normal. I never heard anything. Nothing at all." I turned to Slim and Swimbro. "What do you mean? There was no screaming." "Bro, what?" I hear gravel crunching all of a sudden, like something is being dragged across the gravel. Swimbro gestures for us to go prone. We all get down on the ground and hide in the bushes as if it's Assassin's Creed. A white truck pulls up. No plates on the front or the back. There are tinted windows, so we cannot see inside. All of us are just dead silent on the ground, trying to stay as low as possible and make no noise. The gravel starts crunching again. Not like before, this time it's different. There are footsteps on the gravel. It's a kid. I get knots in my stomach. This cannot be happening. As the kid gets closer, I can get a better look. He looks 12 or 13 years old. He's got black boots on, jeans, some graphic tee, and a camo windbreaker. The kid slows his steps and crouches when he approaches the truck. I feel like I want to save this kid, but I know that if any of us moved, we would be totally screwed. They have a van. I can't see inside. Who knows who is in there or what they have? Me going out to save this kid, it could have gotten all of us killed. The kid is just too close to the goddamn truck. He's around the backseat passenger side that we cannot see. Damn it. I hear the door open and I almost shit myself. I can't look away. The kid lets out a scream of terror and tries to turn around and run. Something grabs him. The kid is kicking and fighting for his life. I see his feet disappear from the gap between the bottom of the truck and the ground. I assumed he got pulled into the truck by whatever or whoever was inside. I hear the truck door slam shut. The truck speeds off down the gravel road. We wait there, still prone, for like a minute, just in case. Swimbro gets up to check if the truck is gone. It is. We all get up and run back to the middle school where our bikes were parked. They are still there. I turn to Slim and Swimbro and I say, "If you get asked, nothing happened today. We biked to my high school and screwed around. Absolutely nothing." Slim nods. Swimbro agrees. We get on our bikes and start the ride back. Conversation is kept to a minimum. I feel like I'm going to collapse at some point, but I don't stop all the way through. I get home. I'm soaked in disgusting sweat. I stumble inside the door. I don't even go and get water, I just go straight upstairs. I'm wobbling the whole way. My stomach is cramping and churning. I strip totally naked and stand in my bath/shower. I can't do it. I collapse onto my hands and knees. I proceed to empty my stomach onto the ceramic of the bathtub. I am nearly choking on my own vomit and bile. It stops. I turn on the drain and wash it down. I feel like I want to die. I take an icy cold shower and go to bed directly after. I sleep for the rest of the day and wake up in the middle of the next day. The dreams I had that night, sequences involving trains and the leagues of children that were crying and screaming. a dream about the warehouse at night and the sky being seized by a big black hand. The images of dwarves and gnomes with pointy teeth dancing and chanting in a circle around the bike in a ditch, shadows staring back at me. I was plagued with awful dreams infrequently on some nights, until I reached out to my closest friend and attended Sunday church with him. It was only later that I explained it to him, and he, the grandson of a theologian, could not explain it. You can choose to believe me or not, I don't care. I know what I saw, and I can still not explain it to this day. Here's a bit of a preamble. In Canada, police officers take on the role of crime scene examiners. I know that's done by civilians in other countries. So I met a suspicious sudden death. It's a typical Canadian November day, about -5 to -10 Celsius and clear. I get a call that there is a dude dead in his living room, and it looks sketchy. I attend and speak to the patrol officer who found the guy. He tells me a neighbor called in a well-being check on the old dude, so he shows up and tried knocking and ringing the doorbell. The door was locked and nobody came to answer, so he checked the perimeter. And when he got back to the patio door, he could see the old guy collapsed in the living room. He and a backup unit breached the front door, and sure enough, there is a dead guy laying in the middle of the living room, surrounded by blood. He has obvious trauma to his head. It's consistent with some sort of firearm wound. Then, the patrol officer shows me around to the side of the house. There is a rifle there, leaning against the side of the house, along with blood spatter. It appears consistent with someone having been shot at that location. Suddenly, alarm bells start ringing in my head. Things are not adding up. I meticulously check the ground surrounding the house, and I find no blood trail at all. If someone had killed the old man outside, there should have been some blood trail leading from the shooting site into the house when they moved the body, and there is none. There is none in the house either, just a pool by his head. There is absolutely no spatter stain in the residence, so he very clearly was shot outside. This was starting to look like murder, not suicide. No normal person could sustain a head wound like that, drag themselves into the house without bleeding, and then die inside. But a murderer sure could drag a body inside without leaving a trace if they were very careful. So then, I start getting super anal about things. I am checking grass to see if it's been flattened, checking shrubs by the side of the house to see if there are any recent breaks to the branches that would indicate a person brushed up against them. I am looking for footprints on concrete tiles, fingerprinting doorknobs, windows, everything. But nothing unusual shows up at all. I call for a consult. 2 very senior NCOs, one a bloodstain analyst, come to look at things, and they are just as baffled as me. They start talking about things quietly, and I am just standing there, waiting for some advice. While I'm waiting, I realize I have not done one of the standard tests that we technically are supposed to do, even at obvious sudden deaths with bloodstains: indirect hemostax testing. A hemostax is a presumptive test for blood. When you put blood on the yellow test strip, a chemical reaction changes it to a dark green color. So I grab a swab and strip from my kit and take a sample of the blood pulled around his head to test, just so that I can check the box that I tested it and it came back positive as possible blood. But it didn't. The hemostax did not react. For the second time that day, I experienced a what the hell moment. It was clearly blood. It was pooled around his head. Or was it? I took another swab, this time directly next to the wound cavity, and tested it. It came back negative. What the actual hell was happening? Okay, I thought, the strips must be expired. No biggie. I have a new container in the van. I will go and grab them. I grabbed a brand new bottle and confirmed the expiry date. I pulled out a strip and did the test again. It was negative again. Now, I interrupted the 2 NCOs and pulled them over and demonstrated the test again. They both had stunned looks on their faces. There was no way the blood should not be causing a reaction. I made a phone call to the lab. They were stumped. I called our headquarters in Ottawa and spoke to one of our research scientists, and after getting some advice from them, determined what the hell was happening. Say, I said before that no normal person could sustain that kind of wound and drag themselves inside afterwards. Turns out, old man was not a normal person. He was in very poor health and suicidal due to constant chronic pain and health issues. One of the meds that he was on was known to not only have the side effects of causing false negative reactions to blood reagent testing, but to also dramatically lower user blood pressure in colder temperatures. The old man went out with a rifle and shot himself in the head, hoping being outside someone would hear the shot and call 911 so the police would find his body, explaining the stains on the side of the house. But he was a bad shot, and the wound was not immediately fatal. Unfortunately, nobody heard the shot. He passed out from the pain, and the combination of the medicine and lower temperatures slowed his circulation enough that the wound partially clotted, and with the lower pressure, he did not bleed out right away. When he regained consciousness, he stumbled into the house and locked the door behind him, laying down on the floor. The activity and increased ambient temperature got his circulation going enough again, increased his blood pressure enough, and he bled out on the living room floor. It turned out to be a suicide after all, and we later found evidence locked up that included a recent note in his own handwriting. This one happened to my friend on his first day on the job as a cop. He is driving with his partner. Normally, we don't have partners, but for the first 6 months, when you start, you are paired up. Also, we have community volunteers, which are like unarmed but trained individuals who assist the peace officer. So, 3 people in total. He is driving down a highway when he sees a man on the side of the road near an entrance to an access road for a cottage. The man is naked and covered in blood and pointing down the access road, trying to get their attention. They turn on the lights and go down the road. The man is signaling them, and when they pull over, he just leaps into the woods and starts running alongside the road. They follow. They get to a cottage, and the door is open. They turn to look at the naked man, and he is gone, vanished into the woods. There is also visibly blood all over the door and deck. The supervisor gets out and goes into the trunk. He grabs the shotgun and gives it to the unarmed auxiliary, saying something like, "Cover our back and try not to shoot us. We are going in." He and my friend draw their pistols and go. When they get inside, there is blood everywhere. Like from a movie. All over the walls, furniture, just everywhere. They enter the living room. There is a man on the couch with a couple of knife wounds to his stomach. But he is alert and seems actually not that bad. But he is holding a pit bull on a leash. The supervisor says, "If you let that dog go, it is dead." The guy ties the leash to the side of the couch. He puts his hands up, but he won't say a word. "Is there anyone here? What happened? Are you okay?" Nothing. He won't give an answer to anything. They place him under arrest, and auxiliary takes him to the car. They continue searching upstairs, clearing rooms out until they get to one of the bedrooms. They look in, and there is a guy underneath some covers, but still obviously awake. "Show me your hands." The guy hears them, throws the blanket off to reveal that he is also naked, stabbed, and basically about to die from blood loss. The paramedics come by. The house is fully cleared out. As it turns out, the 3 guys, including the naked forest man, they were all drug dealers, just having a get-together. They started doing ecstasy, and after getting really high, it turned into a bit of a gay orgy. In a moment of lucidity, one of the drug dealers realized he was not gay and grabbed a knife, which escalated into a gay orgy knife fight, hence all of the blood. That was day 1 of him being a cop. Okay, so this is my uncle's story. He's not actually a cop, but the call was sent to the fire department instead, due to the strangeness. The truck was sent on a call for an unknown disturbance, which basically means it could be anything in the world. They get sent to an address, and that's pretty much it. The truck drives down the street looking for this address, and they get to the end, and all they can see is an abandoned lot with nothing but bushes. Even though they cannot see anyone, they have to get out and investigate, so my uncle and a couple of the guys get out of the truck and start walking around with the usual fire department call out. They called out for a while, but they did not hear anything, and they were about to pack it in as another pointless prank call when my uncle walked past a bush and heard rustling. He looks over and sees a man standing kind of awkwardly behind a bush. "Hey, Mr. Fireman, did you call 911? Is what my uncle says. Yes, sir." My uncle steps a bit closer and realizes how the man is buck-ass naked and standing at a strange angle. He motions to another firefighter that he found the caller and goes behind the bush to begin assessing. He is a firefighter/paramedic. That is when he realizes that the man has what he refers to, a fucking bunny tail, on his butt. Of course, they tried to get the man to explain why he had called in distress and what was going on. After a bit of avoidance, the man finally admits that he had taken a toilet brush cleaner and shoved the handle up his ass. Honestly, no idea why anyone would think this is a good idea in general. Being the enlightened individual that he is, he chose one with a hook on the end to hang up in a bathroom. What my uncle and the other firefighters assumed was that the hook had gotten stuck on something internally because they could not pull it out and caused the men significant discomfort when they tried. My uncle left the man with another firefighter, getting his information, and went back to the truck to call for an ambulance. Of course, at this point, he always mentions that he walked around the truck to see the rest of the company trying to silently die of laughter out of view of the bushes. When the ambulance arrives, my uncle meets them with a grin on his face and tells them to brace themselves before walking them over to the bushes. They assess the man and conclude that there is no way for them to remove the toilet brush in the field and that they have to admit him to the hospital for surgery. The only problem was that they could not figure out how to get him onto the gurney without causing him to move in a way that caused him more pain. They end up throwing a blanket over him, and the firefighters help maneuver him into a sort of downward dog/mountain position with his ass in the air to keep the toilet brush at the right angle. At that point, my uncle decides that the fire department was done with the call and that the paramedics could handle it from there and loaded up the company onto the truck. As they began to drive away, he says, "They were loading this guy into the rig as we drove off, and the last thing I saw of him was that blanket falling off and that damn bunny tail of his sticking straight up into the air." My uncle did follow up on this call with a friend at the hospital. The brush was removed surgically due to the hook getting stuck on something internally and causing the man to have some serious health complications. DAing on here with my first story. I have several stories. I must admit that they are not the most supernatural, except for the one that I still cannot easily explain. In general, I want to be capable of explaining all these things. I love the supernatural, just not if it's close to me. I'm not writing these to scare you, but just to interest you with some OC. Sorry if my English is broken. This happened back when I was a teenager. My family has a vacation house close to a beach. A guy died before he could pay it off. The bank auctioned it, and my dad bought it. It was an absolute mess. I won't go into it too much, but the power had been cut, so all of the meat in the freezer was rotten. The living room was full of trash and DVDs, and one of the upstairs bedrooms was filled with cat litter. I took some of the DVDs, mainly the horror ones, but that's about the only thing that was worth salvaging. We spent a few summers renovating the place. We were living in a camping van and enjoying the beach while my parents did all the hard work. Pretty chill for a teenager. During the renovation, as my mom is moving the floorboards away, she suddenly screams, "There's a hole." My dad did not believe it at first. He goes to look for himself. Beneath the floor is darkness, complete darkness. There is no dirt, no sand, no nothing. My siblings and I are not allowed to look, My parents seem pretty shaken up. They keep us in the camping van for a few days, while strangers come and go. I find out that there was a basement underneath the house. It was not on any of the building plans. At this point in my life, I am easily scared, but also extremely curious, especially since I love horror movies. So I make my siblings promise not to tell anything to my parents as I sneak out of the van. I go clockwise around the house so that my parents would not see me, and then enter through one of the holes in the walls. At this point, the floor and ceiling were mostly gone, and there was a big hole leading into the basement. There was a ladder there, going into the hole. My heartbeat was racing fast, and I felt like I could faint. But I want to go down the hole. I need to. Screw it. I'm already down there. It's dark and the walls are barely lit by the hole from which I came. It's completely empty down there, save for the odd wire sticking out from the ceiling. And no joke, chains sticking out from the wall. At this point, I have completely snapped out of my need to be there. I start climbing up the ladder as I get a flight feeling, like when you leave a dark room and suddenly get the urge to sprint. Except I freeze. A single chain was moving. I could hear that it came from my right. Screw this. I bolt it out of there, jump into the van, and hide underneath a blanket. A few days later, my parents filled it up with cement. My siblings still bully me for hiding underneath a blanket. I can't really blame them. If I ask my parents about the basement, they just joke about it, saying it was nothing. But that doesn't really explain why the people were coming and going. I didn't see everyone, but I don't know. It just seems a little weird if there was nothing down there. And why did they look so shocked? To be honest, if that was the only story from that house, I would probably have believed them. Pick related. It's from the same area as the house. I will see if I have some more photos from when we renovated. I will have to ask my parents. I got 2 more stories from the beach house. I need to write them and then I'll post. In the meantime, here's a short one. Whenever we left the beach house, my mom would clean the place, close all the windows, and close all of the doors to stop heat getting out and sand getting in. The beach house had been done for years at this point. Due to past events, which I will cover in my next story, I was a firm believer that the house was haunted. My parents would have none of it, and only my sister really believed me. We entered the house. I already have a bad feeling in my gut. It took a few seconds until I realized why. The door to the kitchen and the bathroom is open. As we walk through the house, every single door is open. My sister screams. There were footprints on the couch, like someone had walked on the beach, then the couch, without drying off the sand first. Instead of being scared, I'm actually happy. Now they have got to believe me. Nope, they don't believe me. They tell me it's just the wind going through the house. Damn. I sleep in the bedroom, next to the living room with the couch. I go to bed the first night and there is nothing. My bedroom has the door at the foot end of the bed, with the couch being placed along the right side of the room. The second night, I hear faint footsteps on the couch, going away from the bedroom door. On the third night, I hear the same footsteps, except this time, they are going the opposite way, towards my bedroom door. Please, God, no. I run up, lock the door, and jump back to bed. I hear no more footsteps, but I also get no more sleep. We leave the day after. Mom makes sure to close the doors and clean the house before we leave. Appalachia is a very spooky place. The mountain range is the oldest in the world. Some land is obviously cursed. Others are obviously soured. I live in a part of it where all the coal country is, and there are underground mines completely surrounding my land. About a mile to the east, there is an old mine entry from the late 1800s. A mile to the west, there is one from the 1960s. I have the newest coal seam mine map produced by MSHA every single year, and my little plot of land of about 4 acres is the only land in my whole valley the coal companies have not strip mined or deep mined, like they avoided it for some reason, which is odd, because the coal seam is thickest, it appears right underneath my property. Whatever the reason, as kids I would explore these mountains with a buddy. and right on top of the mountain where my land is situated is a false doorway, obviously made by someone. But it's crazy to think the huge rocks that are in place there were actually moved by someone to make the false doorway. I have not been there since I was a kid, because the last time I went to that place, I had nightmares for a week. Visions in my sleep, visions of human sacrifice. The rocks sat perfectly up on top of the ridge of the mountain. You could jump up on them, and they were flat, huge, square-shaped rocks. They were about 3 feet off the ground, the tops of the rocks, so you would walk up to them, and the floor of the rocks was waist-high. After you pulled yourself up onto the rocks, they made a walkway/floor that was about 10 feet wide and 10 feet long. If I remember correctly, there were 4 rocks in total that made this floor, and on the center of this rock floor was some other huge rocks. 2 rocks about 10 feet tall by 10 feet wide, with a doorway in between the 2 rocks, with a single rock stacked on top of the other 2 stones in the center. The doorway had constant air blown through it. The wind was constant, no matter if the air was stirring or not. Very bad vibes coming from this place.